3 months from now. I'm standing in my driveway watching a pearl-white Lexus climb a tow truck ramp. Red and blue lights rolling over the windshield like waves. And the woman who called 911 on me for bringing luggage to my own front door is getting her wrists cuffed, while neighbors pretend they aren't filming from behind hedges of visitor space A. The spot she guarded like a throne is already attached to my deed. Not a joke, not a prank, recorded in the county books as mine. And if that sounds petty to you, hang on. Because small things have weight when someone uses them to make you feel small. This starts 91 days earlier, when I stumble out of a rideshare in Cedar Harbor, with airplane skin and rice on my shirt. Keyring in one hand, a cedar shake bungalow on Juniper Lake in front of me. Because my Uncle Miles passed and left it to the kid who never fit the family's idea of respectable. The afternoon is humid and loud with cicadas. I can smell pine and water and possibility. And that's when she appears, visor tennis. Skirt mirrored sunglasses, a voice that's practiced at winning rooms without raising volume. I'm Sloan Carrington, president of the Lakeside Bluffs Association. We need to address your temporary residency, she says, like she's handing me a parking ticket from God. And I, running on 3 hours of sleep and stubbornness, say, it's not temporary, Sloan. It's my house, which lands about as well as you'd expect. She claims some Section 4(9). I've never heard of I asked to see it, her smile twitches. Then she dials 911 and announces an unauthorized occupant. Yeah, that happened. The patrol car rolls up. Officer Dana Brooks steps out with the expression of a woman who's seen too many cul-de-sac dramas. I hand her the deed, the transfer, the insurance, the number for the lawyer who closed it. She scans, she nods. She looks at Sloan and says polite, but firm. Living in your own home is not a criminal matter. Please stop using emergency services for neighbor disputes, and for 1 second, the air tastes like relief. That's when I notice visitor space A. The Lexus squatting in the closest spot to the mailboxes. A neat ring of pine needles hugging its tires, like the car hasn't moved in weeks, maybe months. I tuck that away and turn back to the steps, where a woman in a paint-splattered tee is walking up with 2 coffees, like a medic on a battlefield. Marta next door. Welcome, you're not crazy, she says, and we laugh because it's easier than screaming later. I meet Tom Keegan across the street, broad-shouldered 60s, a porch reader with quiet eyes. He lifts his iced tea in a salute that somehow says, I see what you see. That night, my inbox pings with an urgent notice, $250 for non-conforming outdoor storage. The storage being my backpack visible on the porch for 41 minutes. You know what I mean? Weaponized rules in a nice font. So I go to Keegan's garage, and it's a cathedral of paper. Blueprints rolled like scrolls. City agendas, a binder labeled Original Covenant. He flips to a page that reads like normal life lawns trash cans. Basic decency, and points to the visitor parking line. 12 hours without permission, 24. With then, he taps a second binder labeled Amendments 2, and the words slide sideways. Development facilitation. Corrective transfer. Vague enough to mean anything sharp enough to cut everyone. That Lexus has been in space, for 18 months, he says. If you want to handle Sloan, you read what's filed with the city, not what she emails. And something in me, the part that learned to smile through border shakedowns and bus fare scams, clicks into place. I write polite emails, I ask for the board vote, and the filing number I say please, and attach PDFs. Then a manila envelope shows up in my mailbox. No return address inside. Insurance adjustment reports with a company name I don't recognize. Larch and Penn, Risk Consulting. There are photos of scorch patterns that don't look like normal firewater damage, that runs the wrong way, a signature that repeats on 3 different claims. And while I'm flipping pages, I hear Sloan on her phone by the hydrangeas, speaking too loud. For it to be private, electrical is too obvious. After Lakeview Tri-Foundation. The buyer is impatient, and the words crawl up my neck. Buyer. Assessment. Timeline. Phase 2, yeah. I hear it. And right then, my phone rings, and I flinch, and she turns eyes on me like a hawk that just spotted a field mouse. I don't answer, I go inside. 10 minutes later, Hagen. Ox with a toolbox and a look that says it's time. He drops a hotel conference photo on my table, bad carpeting a banner that reads, Cobalt Summit, a row of suits Sloan in the center, with a smile that never reaches her eyes. On her left is a man. I don't know, on her right is Uncle Miles, who I thought made his money in gas royalties and quiet luck. Your uncle wasn't random. Keegan says he was. Treasury OIG undercover. He bought here to follow money through property. He was building a case when he died. And the room tilts. Grief changes. Color questions. Stack up and glass shatters. 2 streets over, and smoke climbs into the sky like a sentence without a period. Keegan is already moving. Call 911 fire, and police give the address. We run at 431 Lakeview. The front window is blown out. Bitter smoke curls past the curtain rod. He shoulders the door and works an extinguisher, like he's done it 100 times. Engines arrive, then an unmarked sedan. A woman in a navy suit steps out with purpose and 3 folders. Special Agent Natalie Price Keegan says, and in 30 seconds, I learn they've been watching this ring since my uncle died. That Larch and Penn is the pivot point for too many suspicious claims. That today, the people we're talking about got sloppy. Sloan floats up with a rehearsed smile and a line about her duty to assist as HOA president, and Agent Price says calm as a winter lake. Ms. Carrington, let's talk about your call this morning, discussing timeline and assessment on a property that is currently smoking. Sloan stumbles, reaches for the attorney line. Price nods like sure. Call whoever you need, then clicks the cuffs. Insurance fraud conspiracy to commit arson. Interstate conspiracy, and if you want to know what justice sounds like, it's metal on bone, and the quiet after a bully finally shuts up. Warrants roll out, evidence boxes roll back. Shell companies nested like dolls. Contractor schedules with the same names circling projects. Bank transfers that smell like bleach, and tucked in the plans is the future Sloan promised to someone with deeper pockets. Alder Cove Suites, a 28-unit resort with private docks, and my corner lot as the jewel on the brochure. That's the twist you might miss if you blink. This wasn't about grass height or trash bins. It was about turning a neighborhood into inventory. And to make that happen, they needed people like me to leave. Not because we broke rules, but because we wouldn't sell on their schedule. Here's where the part that sounds petty is actually principle. The Lexus in visitor space. A wasn't registered to Sloan at all. It was bought with HOA funds, laundered through a fake vendor, and used as a rolling office for surveillance and intimidation. State statute meets federal forfeiture, meets the fact that my porch camera caught more than sunsets. Agent Price's paralegal slides a packet across the table and says, if I file this claim with sworn statements about how that space was used in the commission of crimes against residents, the court can attach that space to my lot. Permanent quiet title. I file the clerk's stamps, and a week later, The white letters on asphalt feel like a line I finally got to draw. The rest is not overnight, but it's steady. Ezra Lee. The pediatrician whose deck collapsed moves back with his kid, and a laugh that sounds 10 pounds lighter. The older couple from Cyprus finds a smaller place 2 streets over because they missed the sunrise more than they feared the past. The new HOA president is elected in a meeting that feels like a group exhale. It's Dr. Lee. His first motion is simple: revert to the original covenant on file with the city, and it passes in a wave of hands. Then comes sentencing. Sloan gets 16 years in federal prison, with 12. Before parole is even a topic, the contractor who kept finding the same convenient failures gets 13. The adjuster with the repeat signature gets 11, and a clinician tied to a compound that can mimic cardiac events gets 25 to life. And no, that doesn't bring Uncle Miles back, but it moves rage to the side, just enough that grief can breathe. One morning, Agent Price calls and says my uncle's case set a template, and they've opened new investigations in 5 states. Because patterns are patterns. I thank her. I hang up. I walk to visitor space A and touch the small bronze plaque I installed by the bumper stop that reads, "No intimidation here." And if that sounds like victory to you, you're not wrong. But it's also a reminder that justice can be tidy on paper and messy in hearts. Because not everyone claps. There's a neighbor who says a resort would have raised values. And isn't that the point? There's an attorney letter floating around with the word defamation, like it carries moral weight. And there's a brown paper package from Red Butte, Wyoming, with $5,000 in cash and a note that says, "We heard what you did in Cedar Harbor. Ours is worse. Please help." So here's my question for you. Was claiming that parking space a petty trophy or a line in the sand that communities need do? HOAs protect neighborhoods or give bored tyrants a title and a bullhorn. Where's the line between pride in your street and policing your neighbor and who gets to draw it? Tell me what you think in the comments. Go long, argue, share what you've seen, and if you've got a story that smells like mine, I'm listening. Hit subscribe. If you want more of the messy truth with teeth, and tell me straight. Should I get on a plane to Wyoming or let Cedar Harbor be the only battle I fight?